Hi there, welcome back to Farm and Culture. This is Claudia. We're in my home kitchen today, and it's been a little while since my last video, but I'm super happy to be back and to get right back into sharing good health and basically all the little tricks and things that I've learned throughout my years at Farm and Culture. Most of you know that Farm and Culture was a kombucha and bone broth bar. The bone broth was a huge part of our business and something that I feel really proud that we were able to make palatable and really, we had a great chicken bone broth recipe that I want to share with you guys today. So let's get right into making chicken bone broth. You want to start off with a pound of chicken feet and then also 2 pounds of chicken backs. I like to get the ones that have the spine because there's a little bit, I feel like, more gelatin and collagen in that vertebrae. And then the way that we made our chicken broth at Farm and Culture is we would do a quick boil first. So you want to go ahead and add in your chicken feet, your chicken backs, add in your water. You don't need to fill the pot because we're going to do a quick boil on this batch, and then we're going to cool it and then throw away all of this water. You'll get out all of the impurities, and so you won't have to go back and sort of skim the top of your broth and get all that brown stuff off that's usually floating on the top. And that's what made our broth taste the best, is instead of skimming out any of the impurities off the top, we just dump that whole batch of water and we start over. So now we're ready to make the finished broth. We've dumped out the water from the first boil, and so I have my pot here that has all the chicken feet and the chicken backs in it still. And now we're gonna go ahead and add onion. One of the things that I like to do is to leave the skin on. That gives it a nice color. So I cut this little back end off though, because you can see some of the impurities that are on the onion, and I just toss those out. Make sure this is clean. Give it a nice rinse, add that in. And then we want to add 2 stalks of celery. These have already been washed. Throw those in as well. 1 large carrot. I peel it just because I think the color turns out a little bit better when you do that. And everything just needs to be rough chopped, so it doesn't have to be perfectly chopped. That goes in. Then we want to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It's acidic, and so it draws out more of the collagen from the bone. So that's just 1 little teaspoon. I feel like it can be a little too flavorful, so I just do a little bit. If you prefer using a lemon or something else that's also acidic, that'll work. Celery seed is something that I just sort of started adding because it smells amazing and it just adds a nice little flavor. So a couple sprinkles of that. We want 1 bay leaf. And then just a teaspoon of black peppercorn as well. If you like a little bit more, then by all means, go ahead and add more. I don't usually add salt to the stock because we add that when we do the flavoring. So now the next thing we do is we just want to add in filtered water into our stock pot. Make sure everything is covered. Now the part about bone broth that's the bummer is that we're gonna have to simmer this thing for 24 hours. And you're gonna be adding in back water when the water level gets too low. So we wanna make sure this is nice and high. And then we'll put it on the stove and we'll let it start boiling for 24 hours. Okay, so I know that the idea of boiling a pot for 24 hours seems crazy. Like, who has 24 hours to sit there and wait to make chicken broth, and then also, you go to sleep at night. So what I do is I put this on the stove, bring it to a boil, and let it simmer. And then if I have to go pick up the kids and run back and forth, and I just turn it off, turn it back on when I come home, bring it up to a roaring boil again. We're gonna be cooking this thing for such a long time that it's really gonna be pasteurizing itself, and just, we wanna kill anything in it that could possibly have any harmful bacteria. And you just wanna get to an accumulation of 24 hours. So if you have to leave, then just chill the broth. You can do that a few different ways. but bring it to a temperature that's safe to put into your fridge, and then bring it back out again when you have more time and just get that 24 hours done. It takes forever, I got you, but we make a big batch and then you can freeze it. It'll last a long, long time. It's worth putting in the time and effort to get that perfect broth. So this is ready to go, low and slow for 24 hours. Put the lid on, we'll come back to that later. I do have a pot of bone broth that I finished off yesterday, so I can show you guys how to strain that and basically what it's gonna look like when you are finished. So I have a fat separator. So this is the easiest thing I think to use. Then we also have a strainer. I put that on top because I like to have it extra filtered. And that's it, we'll start ladling it in and you can kind of see the process. Okay, so you can tell how nice and thick the broth is. This stuff at the top is the fat. We're gonna strain that out. There we go. All the fat is gonna be at the top. This is nice when it's cold like this. The fat is just gonna be in the strainer. If it was warmer and more liquidy, then you would be able to just separate the fat out in this fat separator. There we go. And that's it. This is your finished broth. So that's chicken bone broth. I know it takes forever. 24 hours is like a lifetime in today's day and age, but I promise you it's worth every second. All of your recipes will taste better. And it's so good you can even drink it plain. So please, if you have any questions or comments, please send them to me. Follow me on social media at Farm and Culture. Subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you.